Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to share something that could completely change the way you think about learning English. If you've ever felt stuck, frustrated, or convinced that you need expensive classes or a private teacher to become fluent, I want you to stay with me until the end of this video. Because here's the truth. I didn't become fluent in English by going to classes. I didn't spend years in an English-speaking country. I didn't even use a tutor. I learned English naturally, by making it part of my daily life, and by practicing every single day in simple but powerful ways. And that's exactly what I'm going to show you today. I'll walk you through the mindset, the daily habits, and the practical exercises that will allow you to learn English without a classroom, without a textbook, and without endless boring grammar rules. If you want to know how to train your brain to think in English, how to make practice automatic, and how to enjoy the process so you never lose motivation, then this video is for you. Let's get started. Section 1. Why learning naturally works. First, let's talk about why learning English naturally through daily practice is so effective. Think about how children learn their first language. They don't sit in classrooms memorizing verb tenses. They don't take exams on grammar rules. They simply listen, repeat, interact, and little by little, their brain builds the language. The same principle works for us as adults. If we surround ourselves with English, if we make it part of our daily routines, and if we practice consistently, our brains adapt. We start recognizing patterns, we start thinking in English, and fluency grows naturally. The mistake many learners make is thinking that fluency comes from studying harder. In reality, fluency comes from using the language more often. That's why daily practice, listening, speaking, reading, and writing in small doses, is far more powerful than sitting in a class once or twice a week. So the question becomes, how do we actually do this? How can we build an environment where English feels natural, even if we don't live in an English-speaking country? That's exactly what I'll share with you next. Section 2. Morning habits to start the day in English. The first step is to begin your day with English. The way you start your morning sets the tone for the entire day. If the first thing you do is connect with English, you'll be more likely to think in English throughout the day. Here's a routine you can follow. Wake up in English. As soon as you wake up, avoid your native language. Instead, play a short English podcast or an audio clip from YouTube. It doesn't have to be long. 5 minutes is enough. The goal isn't to understand every word, but to let your brain hear English sounds first thing in the morning. Daily affirmations in English. Spend 2 or 3 minutes saying simple sentences about yourself in English. For example, today is a good day. I am learning English. I am improving every day. It may feel strange at first, but it trains your mouth to produce English sounds before your native language takes over. Quick vocabulary review. Pick 3 to 5 words you want to focus on that day. You don't need 50 words, just a few. Write them down on your phone or a notebook. Throughout the day, try to use those words in your conversations or writing. This short morning routine only takes 10 to 15 minutes, but it puts your brain into English mode from the start. Section 3. Daily listening practice. Listening is the foundation of learning naturally. The more you hear English, the more familiar the sounds, rhythm, and patterns become. But the key is to make listening part of your everyday life, not just something you do once in a while. Here's how I did it. Passive listening. Whenever I was doing chores, exercising, or commuting, I played English in the background. Podcasts, audiobooks, or even YouTube videos. At the beginning, I barely understood anything, but over time, my brain got used to the sounds. Active listening. Once a day, I chose a short clip, maybe 2 or 3 minutes long. I listened carefully, repeated phrases out loud, and tried to imitate the speaker's pronunciation. This technique, called shadowing, dramatically improved both my listening and speaking. Repetition. I didn't listen to something once and then forget it. I listened to the same clip multiple times across a few days. Each time I understood more. This repetition built confidence and memory. Daily listening doesn't mean sitting in silence with headphones for hours. It means making English a constant background in your life and spending a few minutes every day really focusing on it. Section 4. Speaking without a classroom. Now let's talk about speaking. Many learners believe they need a teacher or a classroom to practice speaking. That's not true. You can build speaking practice into your daily life, even if you don't have a partner. Here are some methods I used. Talking to myself. Yes, it sounds funny, but it works. I described what I was doing in English. I am making coffee. I am washing the dishes. I am writing a note. This kept me practicing throughout the day. Daily journaling out loud. At night, I spoke about my day for 5 minutes. I recorded myself on my phone, listened back, and tried to notice mistakes. This was like having a conversation with myself. Language exchange apps. Eventually, I used apps like HelloTalk and Tandem to connect with real people around the world. Even 10 minutes of conversation gave me more practice than months of silent study. Imitating native speakers. When I watched a movie or YouTube video, I paused and repeated lines in the same tone and speed. This helped me sound more natural and confident. Speaking practice doesn't have to be formal. The goal is to make your mouth comfortable producing English sounds every single day. Section 5. Reading for fun, not for exams. Reading is another daily habit that builds fluency naturally. But the secret is to read for fun, not for exams or tests. I started with simple texts, children's books, short news articles, or even Instagram captions in English. Then I moved to blogs, novels, and longer stories. Here's how I made reading effective. I chose content that interested me. If I like sports, I read sports articles. If I like travel, I read travel blogs. Enjoyment kept me consistent. I didn't translate every word. I focused on the main idea. If I didn't understand a word but the sentence made sense, I skipped it. I collected useful phrases, not just words. For example, instead of just learning the word goal, I learned the phrase, set a goal or achieve a goal. Even 10 minutes of reading a day added up. Over weeks and months, I noticed my vocabulary expanding and my sentence structures becoming more natural. Section 6. Writing to think in English. Writing is often ignored by learners, but it's one of the best ways to train your brain to think in English. Writing forces you to create sentences, organize your ideas, and practice grammar naturally. I kept it simple. Daily journal. Every night, I wrote a few sentences about my day. At first, my sentences were very basic. Today, I went to work. I was tired. I ate dinner. But over time, they became longer and more detailed. Creative prompts. Sometimes, I gave myself small challenges, like describe your favorite movie or write about your dream vacation. This made writing more fun. Messaging in English. On WhatsApp and social media, I tried to chat with friends in English. Even short conversations helped. The key wasn't perfection, it was practice. Writing daily made me notice my mistakes and gave me confidence to express myself. Section 7. Using entertainment to learn. One of the most enjoyable parts of natural learning is using entertainment. Movies, TV shows, songs, and YouTube videos are not just for fun, they're powerful tools. Here's how I turned entertainment into practice. Movies and shows. I watched with English subtitles, not my native language. I rewatched favorite episodes to catch details. I paused and repeated interesting lines. Music. I listened to English songs, read the lyrics, and sang along. Music made pronunciation and rhythm feel natural. YouTube. I subscribed to English-speaking channels on topics I enjoyed: cooking, travel, technology. Watching something I loved kept me motivated. The secret was this: I didn't treat it like study time. I treated it like relaxation, but in English. That way, practice never felt like a chore. Section 8. Building consistency. Now, let's talk about the most important part of all: consistency. Learning naturally doesn't mean learning without effort. It means showing up every single day, even if it's just for 15 minutes. Small daily practice beats occasional big effort. Here are some tips that helped me stay consistent. Set small goals. Instead of saying, "I will learn English this year," I said, "I will listen to one podcast every morning." Small goals are easier to achieve. Track progress. I kept a simple calendar. Every day I practiced, I marked it. Seeing the chain grow motivated me not to break it. Mix activities. I didn't do the same thing every day. Some days I focused more on listening, other days on writing or reading. Variety kept me interested. Make it fun. If I was bored, I changed the method. I never forced myself to use a resource I hated. Enjoyment was the secret to longevity. Section 9. Common mistakes to avoid. While learning naturally, I also discovered some mistakes that can slow progress. Avoid these if you want faster results. Translating everything. If you translate every word into your native language, you'll never start thinking in English. Focus on understanding meaning, not exact translation. Waiting for perfection. Don't wait until you feel ready to speak. Start speaking from day one, even with mistakes. Fluency comes from practice, not from waiting. Studying too much grammar. Grammar is useful, but don't make it the center of your study. Use it in context, not as endless rules to memorize. Inconsistency. Practicing for hours 1 week and then stopping for 2 weeks doesn't work. It's better to practice 10 minutes daily. Section 10. Results of daily natural practice. After following this daily natural approach, my English transformed. At first, I struggled to understand even basic conversations. But after months of listening daily, my ears adjusted. I could follow podcasts, movies, and real conversations. At first, I was afraid to speak. But after weeks of talking to myself, recording my voice, and practicing with others online, I found my confidence. I realized that making mistakes was not failure, it was learning. Step by step, my reading became faster, my writing became clearer, and my speaking became smoother. And all of this happened without classrooms, without expensive courses, and without leaving my country. Section 11. How you can start today. So how can you start learning English naturally without classes right now? Here's a simple plan. Tomorrow morning, listen to a 5-minute English podcast as soon as you wake up. Choose 3 words and try to use them during the day. In the evening, write a short paragraph about your day in English. Before sleeping, watch 10 minutes of an English show with subtitles. That's it. For small steps. If you repeat this every day, you will build momentum. Over time, you can expand the routine, add more listening, more writing, more speaking. But the most important thing is to begin and to keep going. Conclusion. So there you have it. How to learn English naturally with no classes, just daily practice. It's not about studying harder. It's about living with English every single day. By listening, speaking, reading, and writing in small doses, you train your brain the same way children learn their first language. You don't need to wait for the perfect teacher, the perfect course, or the perfect time. You can start today with the phone in your hand, the notebook on your desk, and the motivation inside you. If this video gave you new ideas and inspiration, make sure to give it a like. It really helps the channel grow. And if you want more strategies, routines, and practical tips to improve your English, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and remember, fluency is not a destination, it's a daily habit. I'll see you in the next video.